In this video, I will be talking about a new feature within Power Automate interface named as saving rule. Now, if you navigate to any of the Power Automate flow, then you will be able to see some more information with regards to saving when you navigate to the edit form of that particular Power Automate flow. So, just to show you an example, like say I have this hello flow. Now, if I navigate to this hello flow, I will be able to see some details with regards to the flow. And also over on the right hand side, I can see some pane which show me uh, information about the time saved and the money saved for this particular flow execution. Now, this statistics has been enabled using multiple screens, and I have configured some parameters, and that's the reason I'm able to see this information. Now, the benefit of using this feature is that, say, take for example, if you are automating any business process flow or any process flow within an organization, and you'd like to calculate the time or the money saved during this automation process. Now, if you want to calculate that either in terms of dollar value or in terms of time value, like how much time has been saved if this flow has been not there, or how much of money has been saved because of automating this process. Now, this is an important indicator for your organization to make a decision on whether the automation was successful or not. Now, of course, there will be a lot of overheads in terms of, say, licensing or in terms of the resources who author this flow. But then once you do that whole end-to-end calculation, it will be a good indicator for you to understand that whether the Power Automate flow which you have created within the organization is adding value to the entire change management process or the digital transformation process or not. Now, in order for the statistics to be shown, there are some couple of settings which you need to first perform. So first one is you need to enable the savings. Now, in order to enable the saving, you need to first navigate to the Power Platform Admin Center. Now, if I'm say, let me pick up one environment. So I will go to Girish Dev environment, and from here, if I go to settings, products, features, and just search for savings. Now, if you see the savings over here, now I have an option to disable the money saving rule. So by default, it is turned on. So when on, it prevent makers to track money savings generated by their automation. So this is other way around. So if you turn this on, then this will be preventing you to track the money saving. But if it is off, then it will by default enable the saving options. Now, time to live in days of savings event and flow aggregation entity. So the 365 days of saving events will be saved within your tenant. Now, set default item expiration in flow aggregation entity. The default value is 365 days. Set the value to -1 to never delete them. So if you want to go beyond that, you can just replace this value with -1. And once you set that value, you should be able to, save that flow aggregation entity data for unlimited number of time. Now, this is the Power Platform Admin Center settings. So this is the first gateway through which you set this value. So I'll just cancel this off. Now, if you navigate to a flow, now say, take for example, if I want to turn, say, this savings option for a flow. So for that, you need to go to individual flow and then turn that option on. So let me pick up a flow where this is not enabled. So let me check this one, explore USS solution. So for the first time, you will see this screen, savings. Now, we haven't turned on the saving for this particular flow, and this flow hasn't been run. So let me first run this flow and see whether this flow runs successfully. So I can see that this flow has succeeded now. Now, I need to first turn on the savings. So I will enable the savings over here. And now I get an interface which tells me to configure some value. So here, if you read the first section, which tells about enablement, and second is enabling the money saving rule. So first, let's see, define how much time it usually takes to manually perform the actions being automated. So what you're actually tracking is like if you do this manually, how many hours it will take. So let's assume for this particular flow, this takes say 3 hours and maybe 30 minutes. Now if you run this flow, then you are equivalently saving 3 hour and 30 minutes. Now this is on basis of the configuration of per successful run. But if I say no, this manual processing would take 3.5 hour, but an hour with at least one successful run. So we can configure that as well. Or maybe I can say it will save 3 hour 30 minutes, but then we just use it for a day, and it's a day with at least one successful run, or a week with at least one successful run. So whatever is the case, you can define that rule. And for time being, I'll just assume that for every successful run, I will save 3 hour and 30 minutes. Now enable money saving rule. So first you need to turn this on, and there are two options now. So this option number one and option number two. Now, option number one, it says calculate money saving based on hourly rate. So define how much money saved by this automation. So now, if it is say 3 hour and 30 minutes, and if the hourly rate is maybe say 20, then it will amount to the multiplication of two, say 20 into 3.5 hours. So which will give you a value of $70 per successful run. Or maybe we can calculate money savings with user defined baseline. Now as you see, if I turn this on, this turns off, and we can say define how much money is saved by this automation. I will say overall, if I have a hard coded number, I will say, oh, with this I can save $65 per successful run, or per hour with at least successful run, or per day or per week with at least one successful run. So I have an option to set that as well. So let's pick up this value and say hourly rate is 20, which equals to $70. So if I run this once, I will say $70. If I run it twice, it will save $140. I'll click on save. Now, the moment you save it, this will save the configuration. And now you go ahead and run the information. So, so I'm running the flow, and now once this flow is run, it will start calculating the value in the backend, and then you will see the result over here. The result is not immediate because this there is a service which runs in the background which aggregates all this information, and then after some period of time you should be able to see the information. Now you will see how much time you have saved and how much money you have saved. So it won't be this result won't be available immediately. Now you might have configured this for multiple flows. Now if you want to see the entire thing, what you can do, either you can click on see trend, or you can navigate to automation center on the left hand pane. Now automation center, if it is not available, just click on more and then try to pin the automation center on the left menu. Now if I click on see trend, I should be able to see for that particular cloud flow which I have selected, because I'm coming under the context of that. I have saved 0 minutes, I have saved $0. Now why? Because I've just configured it now. Now if you want to see all the flow which have been configured, you have an option to clear the filter, and then you will see all the flow which you have configured for savings. Now as you see, there is a section which says you have saved 2.4k dollar. These are the flows which has contributed to this much of value. Plus, if you want to see the trend, here you will see that on 20th of June, $12 was saved, and then on 23rd of June, $27.83 was saved. And this is how you can track. Now you have an option to select the filter. So if I click on all cloud flow, I will say I just want to see for ISO format flow and users AAD flow. I can click apply, and then it will show you the flow. Now for ISO format flow, as you see, there is a savings configured, but for users AAD flow I don't have. So let's say try catch, capture, error, flow. And now, as you say, yes, those two flows are configured for savings, and then I will be able to see all this information in the background. Now, this money rule, the environment administrator basically can block the usage of money rule within the environment. As I showed it to you, just navigate to the Power Platform admin and just flick that switch to on. Now, once you save a saving rule on a cloud flow, on every successful run of this flow, it contributes to generate the savings. The saving doesn't immediately generate after the successful run. A periodic update is required to basically persist those changes and persist those information. Now, where these informations are stored, now if you navigate to make.powerapps.com, there is a table called as flow aggregation table. Now, if you see this flow aggregation table, it has the information of about all the configuration settings which we have done. Plus, there is a table called a savings rule. So there is a savings rule table. And now if you say click on solution, saving rule, rule data, row ID unique, started on, and there are other fields which you can select, and you click on save, and then you should be able to see all the saving rules which you have created. Now, as you see over here, I can see whole bunch of saving rule which I have created, and then that's why it is all like say reflected within the table. And once the flow calculates all those information, then I will be able to see the savings within the Power Automate automation center. Now I can switch between time and money. So here, as you see, 20 hours has been saved. Now this is on basis of two Cloudflow. If I click on clear flows, clear filters, then I can see savings of literally 2 days, and I've saved money of 2.4K. So this is a nice bit of visual which your administrator can say see within the Power Automate interface, and also this will help the management in understanding the savings which Microsoft Power Automate brings into your organization. So with a bit of automation, there is a plenty of option to save the money and save time. So that's it, folks. This is all about savings rule within Microsoft Power Automate. Thanks for watching.